KGW TV, Channel 8, Portland. This is News 8 at 11, where news and information come first. Reported by Steve Knight. Weather with Jeff Anderson. And Joe Becker with sports. And now, News 8 at 11.
No classes through Wednesday at Molalla High School. The cancellation caused by the Saturday night fire that destroyed the school gym. As Gene Pica tells us, the fire's cause is a mystery, but investigators are wondering about arson.
Flames totally engulfed the Molalla High School gymnasium by the time firefighters arrived around 10:40 in the evening. It took 75 of them about an hour to get the fire under control. Newly installed fire doors kept the flames from spreading into other buildings. However, the gymnasium was lost. Today, shock swept through Molalla. Many looked on as firefighters sifted through what was left of the school's memories.
An awful lot of games and programs, May Days, graduations.
It meant a lot to the school and the town. You know, everybody, everyone's kind of centered around the gym. Not just because of basketball, just because of all the memories and stuff.
Memories that include a second-place finish in the division for the 1988 Molalla basketball team. The bleachers, once filled with cheering fans, are now melted and mangled. Firefighters aren't sure what made this 40-year-old building go up in flames. Molalla police tell me it is coincidental that at 9:30 last night, they got a call that a burglar was trying to break into the school through this basement window. However, firefighters are hesitant to say whether this incident is linked to the fire.
We've got all that debris to dig through to even start looking for anything that might have caused this thing.
Damage estimates are at $1.5 million, and the school only has an estimated $750,000 of insurance. Gene Pica, News 8.
Convicted rapist Lawrence Singleton is just hours away from becoming a free man. Tonight, Pastor Thomas Smith says he and his wife expect to be murdered for inviting Singleton to live at their Bride of Christ church in Azalea, Oregon. Singleton hasn't said if he'll accept the invitation. Singleton finished his prison term and ends his parole tomorrow in California. He was convicted of raping Mary Vincent and cutting off her forearms. Yet another Iranian attack on an oil tanker in the Persian Gulf. The target, the Saudi Arabian sea trader. It suffered slight damage from grenades and machine guns. No one was killed. The attack came just hours after President Reagan warned Iran that such attacks, quote, would be quite costly to Iran. Tonight, U.S. officials downplay possible retaliation. 20,000 gallons of oil. That's how much leaked from a refinery storage tank into part of San Francisco Bay. And tonight, cleanup crews are working frantically to keep the oil from spreading into a rest stop for millions of migrating birds. Dozens of birds have already died from the goo. The oil has spread across 10 miles of shoreline at the northeastern tip of the bay. Crews are using vacuum trucks and containment booms to keep the oil from spreading farther. After the spill was discovered yesterday, crews plugged the leak in a drainage pipe at a Shell oil refinery. A Navy pilot is in critical condition tonight after his jet crashed in front of thousands of people at a California air show today. One of the spectators took these pictures with his home video camera. The FA-18 Hornet climbs up, making a loop, then flies upside down. Then the pilot points the nose to the ground, preparing to make a low pass over the runway. But it's too low. The jet's tail slams into the ground and smoke marks the crash site. The pilot, Colonel Jerry Caddick, survived, but he's badly hurt. Up there in this brand new plane, pilot Harvey Gilman buys and sells planes for a living. He's had this one just 3 hours. One of the darned wheels wouldn't drop down so he can land, so cool and calm Harv circles for 2 hours, burning off fuel just in case. The fire trucks roll in just in case. Then Harvey sets her down, nice as you please.
4 forced landings over the last 20 years. Another day's work, I guess.
Harv says he'll get his new plane fixed and maybe keep it. Lucky man. Still ahead on News 8, the Israelis try a new approach to ease tensions. Machine gunners hold a convention in Kentucky, and scientists try to figure out how to slow down dangerous invaders.
For affordable legal help, call Northwest Legal Services. Our lawyers are ready to help you with cases like personal injury, divorce, and bankruptcy. Northwest Legal Services, now 2 locations.
Your lawnmower. You spend hundreds of dollars on a machine you hate to use, then treat it that way. But you always expect it to work. If you own a Lawn Boy, it will. All Lawn Boys have a commercial-grade engine. You don't even have to change the oil. You'll hate to use your Lawn Boy for years and years.
Save up to $120 on a Lawn Boy at Hauser Brothers, Uncle Don's Hardware.
You know, at Landmark Ford, we want our used car customers to know we're going to do exactly what we say we're going to do. We call it customized. This is what I mean. Every used car and truck we sell comes with a 60-point used car inspection. Then we price the cars fairly, and if you're not completely satisfied after you've owned the car for 5 days, we'll even give you back your money. Think about it. The best used car or truck possible, at a fair price, and a 5-day money-back guarantee. Landmark Ford, you're going to get your money's worth. We're the customerized dealer, right here in Tigard.
Every woman knows that a good diet, medical care, and exercise can make you look better. But taking care of yourself is not just for looks. After age 55, a woman's risk of heart attack triples. Find out what you can do today. Call the American Heart Association.
Israel tried a new tack today to end the violence in the occupied territories, but it doesn't seem to have worked. The Israelis lifted curfews throughout the Gaza Strip and West Bank. They allowed Arabs to leave their homes and travel to jobs in Israel for the first time in a week. But it failed to end the strike by Arab businessmen, and there were reports that another Arab protester was killed in a clash with Israeli troops. That brings the death toll to 166 in 4 months of violent protests. The vote's still being counted, but it looks like France's socialist president came out on top in today's balloting. President François Mitterrand is seeking a second 7-year term. And while he appears to have won today's election, he didn't capture enough votes to avoid a runoff. His challenger, conservative Premier Jacques Chirac. It's the first time a French president and premier are opposing one another in the polls. In the U.S. presidential campaign, Michael Dukakis and Jesse Jackson are concentrating on Pennsylvania. Voters there elect 178 convention delegates on Tuesday. Both candidates are hitting the theme of jobs in the depressed steel mill towns. Meanwhile, a new poll by Time magazine says a Jackson-Dukakis ticket would beat a GOP ticket headed by George Bush, 47% to 42%. We haven't heard too much about them lately, but the killer bees are coming, and they're expected to arrive in the U.S. by 1990, unless scientists find a way to stop them. A team of researchers recently traveled to South America to study the dangerous bees, and reporter Chris Kelly went along.
If you want to meet the killer bees, you have to dress for the occasion. Because there are so many legends and myths about the bees, there's a sense of anxiety among the group of visitors from Texas. A college researcher, a Houston Fire Department observer, some beekeepers and newsmen. We're not sure what to expect. As their name suggests, killer bees are not hospitable when they are disturbed.
Just sort of preparing them all for the invasion.
The smoke is supposed to calm the bees before the hives are opened. But true to their nature, the bees become instantly defensive of their home. They aggressively ward off the intruders.
Don't stand there and swipe at the bees. Get away as fast as you can.
What's the best protection then for this?
Run like hell.
They just are relentless. They will not leave you alone. They are just continuously by the thousands coming at you.
Killer bees, called Africanized bees by scientists, arrived in Venezuela 12 years ago and are now being studied by the U.S. Agriculture Department in advance of their predicted arrival in the U.S. in about 2 years. They are the result of an experiment in Brazil in the 1950s, an experiment that went haywire when some crossbred African bees escaped and began moving north.
Their sting is not more venomous. They're slightly smaller, but their level of defense is much greater. You get 8 to 10 times as many stings on average from an Africanized colony.
An attempt was made last year to block the bees' advance with a control zone across southern Mexico. It failed, and the bees are now reported in Veracruz. The fear is that they will overwhelm the more docile honeybees used in Texas and elsewhere for vital crop pollination. The extent of the problem and the threat are still not clearly defined. And as the killer bees move closer to Texas, the warnings are getting louder.
I think our best chance is to slow them down. I don't think we can stop them.
Chris Kelly in Acarigua, Venezuela for NBC News.
There's a group of people meeting in Kentucky this weekend who probably like to use those bees for target practice. This is a convention for machine gun enthusiasts. 4,000 of them in the appropriately named Bullet County to shoot them up.
In other parts of the country, they don't have the large explosions, you know, and the nice fireworks display.
The biggest draw is the night shoot, kind of like the 4th of July, only scarier. Up next, we'll show you what was inside a mysterious safe opened in Portland. And no mystery about the weather. Jeff Anderson's forecast is coming up, too.
The Dealer Information Center looks at the Mazda B2200 standard bed truck and Toyota standard bed. While Toyota gives you all the basics, you get all the basics and all this with the B2200. Yet it's actually priced less than Toyota. And right now, cash incentives can save you hundreds more. Mazda B2200. Want to be even more impressed? Drive one.
Get a great deal at Jim Meyer Mazda, Melody Mazda, Ocean Way Mazda, John Link Mazda.
Unlike other copier companies, at Meta we give copiers all our attention, so you won't have to give them any. Unlike other copier companies, at Meta we spend all our resources perfecting our copiers, so you won't have to spend yours repairing them. You see, at Meta we have to make more reliable copiers because unlike other copier companies, our entire business relies on them. Meta, all we make are great copiers. Call 1-800-ABC-META.
Welcome home to some American dreams, brought to you by Anderson, the windows more people come home to than any other.
Come home.
Get this 84-page book of window ideas at these Anderson dealers.
Withers Building Supply, All City Glass, Custom Building Improvement, and Truax Builder Supply.
Was Marilyn Monroe murdered? On Monday's PM Magazine, we'll meet a man who claims Marilyn's death was no suicide. Tuesday, Crime Story star Dennis Farina.
Wednesday, Oregon's 304th Aerospace Rescue and Recovery Squadron. On Thursday, Magnum star Tom Selleck pays us a visit. Then on Friday, the stars of Magnum talk about the last episode. I'm Teresa Richardson.
And I'm Jack McGowan. Join us all week on Channel 8's PM Magazine.
Weeknights at 7:30.
The folks at St. Vincent de Paul had a mystery on their hands, and they hope to solve it today and discover riches, too. A century-old safe had been collecting dust in the society for 13 years. Today, it was finally time to crack it open. A master locksmith was called in. He picked away for a good half hour and finally drilled through 5 tumblers to reveal a box with keys in it. At least the society was philosophical. The spokesman said, "We're no richer or poorer than before." But at least now they know what was inside.
Sounds like a case for Geraldo.
He was inside the safe.
He's inside the safe.
Scooted out before.
How about that weather today, huh?
Nice.
See the cloud formations out there? I mean, we had everything today. We had some showers, we had some hail, we had some sunshine, and then just a few hours ago, we started to get some reports of some lightning in the outskirts of town. So very dramatic weather. Right now we're in that transitionary period, of course, between winter and summer, and we are going to see some more unstable patterns like that. However, the next couple of days, things are going to improve slightly. We should see some more sunshine and some warmer temperatures. Let's take a look now at some current conditions out there at the Portland Airport and see how things are shaping up. Right now, just cloudy skies with a temperature of 49 degrees. The barometer is rising at 30.22. And the wind is out of the northwest at 12 miles per hour. Here's how things shaped up throughout the course of the day. Those showers which we felt throughout the area today was courtesy of a low pressure system coming in out of Canada that is now tracked into Idaho. That's what triggered the shower activity today. Right now we've got another system moving in out of the southwest Pacific. It's hitting a ridge of high pressure off the coast. The most we're going to see out of this system is just some cloudiness. However, there is a chance that a good portion of southern Oregon could start seeing some precipitation. But again, the most we'll see out of it for the next couple of days is just some increasing cloudiness. We've got high pressure aloft. That will continue to build in an eastward direction. So as these systems creep down out of the Gulf of Alaska. They'll head down for southern Oregon and northern California, so we will be spared any major storm activity. Let's take a look now at some official statistics and see how things shaped up today throughout the Portland area. Official high of 58, 4 degrees below average, but our low temperature this morning of 42 degrees was right on the money for this time of year. And precip-wise, we picked up 21/100ths of an inch, although other outlying areas like Boring picked up as much as 1/3 of an inch of rain. And there you can see how cold that air mass is above us. Freezing level today at Salem was at 4,400 feet. Elsewhere throughout the state, precip-wise, well, the Portland-Vancouver area picked up most of that rain, just some trace amounts east side. High temperatures today range from just the lower 40s east side all the way up to 61 degrees at Brookings, and low temperatures this morning dipped down to the lower 30s in the southeastern section of the country. Once again, we had some more thunderstorm activity throughout the nation, particularly over here in Texas and Oklahoma. This area remains under tornado watch tonight. We even had some tornadoes touch down today in Colorado and Nebraska, but no damage was reported. A fair amount of thunderstorm activity throughout the Middle Plains today. But basically, with this ridge of high pressure, pretty nice day throughout most of the rest of the country. We're keeping our eyes on this vortex center right now, creeping in out of Washington. That's tracking in a southeasterly direction. That could continue to trigger some more showers throughout the next couple of hours. But again, we've got some high pressure offshore that'll continue to build in tomorrow, and that's what's going to give us some nice sunny skies, at least through tomorrow, and then some increasing cloudiness on Tuesday. Let's take a look now at our forecast, starting there on the coast. Partly cloudy tomorrow, increasing clouds, a chance of some light rain on Tuesday, basically south side as that system moves in. East Central Oregon, partly cloudy tomorrow, and then some increasing clouds on Tuesday. In the Cascades, partly cloudy on Monday, increasing clouds on Tuesday. Actually, the forecast is almost the same for the rest of the state. In the Gorge, partly cloudy again on Monday, and then increasing clouds west side on Tuesday. A fair amount of sunshine east side. In the Valley, partly sunny and warmer tomorrow, and then some increasing clouds on Tuesday, and essentially the same forecast for the Portland-Vancouver area. Should dip down around 40 degrees tonight and get up to around 63 balmy degrees tomorrow, and plenty of sunshine along with it.
Good. We'll enjoy it. Thank you.
Okay.
Up next, a big day in sports. Joe Becker has the NFL draft results and the end of the NBA's regular season. Plus, even the announcers are losing their heads over the Orioles.
Your lawnmower. You spend hundreds of dollars on a machine you hate to use, then treat it that way. But you always expect it to work. If you own a Lawn Boy, it will. All Lawn Boys have a commercial-grade engine. You don't even have to change the oil. You'll hate to use your Lawn Boy for years and years.
Save up to $120 on a Lawn Boy at Hauser Brothers, Uncle Don's Hardware.
What is that?
Recently, a new beer was introduced in London.
I believe it's a beer.
A beer brewed in Oregon, in the old-fashioned traditional way.
Henry Weinhard's Private Reserve.
So next time you're in London, look for the beer that's attracted so much attention in America and is now creating excitement in the rest of the world.
Not bad.
The following is a demonstration of what you can get without previous credit at some auto dealerships. This is what you can get without previous credit at Vancouver Ford. No credit? No problem. Sincerely, Vancouver Ford.
They're here. Escort GTs, Rangers, Mustangs, Taurus, Tempos, Bronco 2s.
Use your Ford rebate as your down payment.
Choose from over 600 cars and trucks now at Vancouver, Portland's only 5-star Ford dealer, Vancouver Ford.
Joe's here with the sports, and the Blazers are playoff bound.
They certainly are. It's all set. The Blazers open the playoffs Thursday night against the Utah Jazz. Game 2 of the series next Saturday. Both are at the Coliseum. Now, during the season, Utah beat the Blazers 4 out of 5 times and twice here in Portland. It should be a great series. 6 games today on the final day of the regular season. Dallas over San Antonio by 10. The Lakers rolled it up on Golden State. Michael Jordan 46 as the Bulls beat Boston. Seattle over the Clippers. Detroit beat Philly, and Houston took care of Phoenix. Here's a look at the playoff matchups in the West. It's the Blazers, Utah, Lakers, San Antonio, Houston versus Dallas, and Seattle against Denver. In the East, Milwaukee meets Atlanta, Boston tackles New York, Washington versus Detroit, and Cleveland against Chicago. The NFL draft took place today in New York City. Actually, they finished only 5 rounds. They'll conclude the draft tomorrow. Atlanta had the first pick and took linebacker Andre Bruce of Auburn. Here's a look at the top 6 picks in the draft. The LA Raiders grabbed Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown of Notre Dame 6th. 6 players from the Pac-10 taken in the first round. UCLA's Gaston Green went to the Rams and Stanford's Brad Mustard to Chicago. Meanwhile, Ducks defensive back Anthony Newman at his duplex in South Eugene this morning, waiting for a phone call from one of the NFL teams. Joining Newman were his parents, Ducks basketball star Anthony Taylor, and Brett Young, a junior cornerback at Oregon. Newman didn't have to wait long to get his call. It came from the Rams in the second round. He was the 7th pick in the second round and number 35 overall. Obviously, Newman was thrilled to be picked by the Los Angeles Rams.
This is a big thrill for me right now. The biggest thing is I get to stay on the West Coast, and my family and my friends get to see me play. Living in L.A. is going to be nice. This is a dream come true.
You relieved?
Oh, yeah. I'm tired of waiting. I've been waiting here for 3 hours, and I've been sweating. I'm hot, but I'm just happy it's over with right now.
Here's a look at a few other Northwest players. Ducks Roland Putsier picked by Green Bay. The Huskies Chris Chandler by Baltimore, and Mike Oliphant of Puget Sound went to the Redskins. Baltimore Orioles lost again today, this time 3-1 in Kansas City. The Orioles have now lost 18 straight without a victory. The losing streak's even starting to affect some of the baseball announcers.
I'm Mel Proctor along with John Lowenstein. You know, John, when I left for the airport this morning, my neighbor said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm headed to Kansas City to see the Orioles play." And he said, "What? Have you lost your head?"
The Orioles' next game Tuesday night at Minnesota. Elsewhere, Roger Clemens is now 4-0 as Boston wins. Oakland beats Chicago. The Yankees down Toronto. The Twins clobbered Cleveland. Detroit fell to Texas, and Seattle by 2 over California. In the National League, the Pirates win their 3rd straight. The Braves win another game. Fernando Valenzuela shut out the Giants. Montreal beat Philly. The Cardinals trimmed the Mets for the first time this season, and Andy Hawkins threw a one-hitter as